but I will gladly play it. Yeah, totally.
And is that on like a... Well, so we're here with Harrison, me, Billy. Yeah, play it. I just want to hear a little bit of Harrison's music.
Yeah, so this one...
Harrison's wearing a Hard Times in Los Angeles Fresh Jive shirt. So that's the guy that did the... What the fuck is really going on? That's his clothing line.
So dope. I love
Fresh Jive.
Love Fresh Jive. Yeah,
and Rick Klotz is a friend of mine. The guy who started that. So let's hear it real quick. Just like a little bit of it.
Sure. So this is...
Because Harrison's really dope artist and songwriter. And a girl that was a guy.
Well, so I identify as non-binary,
okay.
So I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle.
Okay, cool.
That's the way I like to describe it. Is like
awesome.
Yeah.
See, I think that we're gonna want to like explore that a little bit, and just so people get I just want to try to help everyone understand all the different aspects of that. And I want to encourage Billy to like...
Oh yeah, I got curiosity.
Yeah, ask away. But yeah, let's hear that just so we can catch a quick vibe. Because I really like this song. Harrison's saying it's underproduced, which I get. It's a little bit old. I think it's a great song. I like all the stuff you're doing. But this one kind of stood out to me.
Can I ask a real quick question? What do you mean underproduced? What does that mean exactly?
Well, let's play it and we can talk about it while it's playing.
Yeah. So this song is actually pretty nostalgic for me too, because I put this song out right after I moved to LA. And so it's great looking back at like where I was then and like where I am now, and it's totally different. But
when was then?
This was in 2017, actually. Yeah, okay. 2017. I've been out here for 3 years now. So, but yeah, this is it's called Colorblind.
When you produced...
I kind of co-produced this one. I worked with this guy, Kyle Cummings, on this one in Nashville. But yeah, I wrote this song, though. Yeah.
Isn't this like so much better than all the rest? It's a fucking hit.
Thank you.
I think.
Appreciate it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Colorblind.
Colorblind.
What's that about?
So that one, can't remember. What was that? What did I write that one about? That was, I think it was just like somebody that I had a crush on, and it was kind of this idea of like being colorblind until you saw somebody, and then they made you see in like the full spectrum of colors. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of the.
And was this person that you were into a guy or a girl?
Well, this was way before I came out. This was.
But still, was it a guy or a girl?
It was a girl. Yeah.
Okay, so you were attracted to women.
Yeah, I'm bisexual. Yeah, I'm actually mainly attracted to women. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, which is a doozy, but
turn me down a little bit, dude.
I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I can only turn all of us down.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I can turn all of us down.
Thank you.
Hello. So you're attracted to men and women, but mostly women.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and it's always like it's always changing too. Like it's not like really a static thing. Like I'll go through periods where I'm like really boy crazy, and then there are periods where I'm like really into women, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it depends upon my.
And has it been like that your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, I've known, I think since I was started being attracted to women, I was also attracted to men as well. Like,
wow.
Yeah, but it was just something like being attracted to boys was just something that like I couldn't like it wasn't even a conversation that I could have with myself in my mind of like,
Whoa.
this is something that's possible. So I just kind of like shoved it aside, and because I'm bisexual, I was just kind of like, well, I'm definitely attracted to girls, so
wait,
I'm just gonna
so
shove this other part aside,
But so you felt it, but you didn't even want to acknowledge that feeling.
No.
Whoa, because of like your religious upbringing, or
I was raised in a super religious home. But my parents are both Presbyterian. I grew up in the same church from when I was a newborn baby to when I was 18 years old, and so that was.
Have you ever seen the show The Sinner?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, whatever.
I don't think so.
Wow, so that's fucking fascinating.
It's a interesting time.
And Harrison's close with Jason and Vic.
Love
that's
those
how
two.
I met Harrison.
Yeah, that's how we met.
And I've watched you change physically, like your outfit. It's like rad. Like you have such cool style.
Thanks.
But like you didn't dress like this. Like I feel like I saw you slowly get more and more comfortable with like being the feminine version of you.
Yeah, totally.
I've witnessed it, and it was like, oh shit, like that's crazy. And then I just respect that, and I know how I could imagine how much courage. Are you scared? Were you scared in the beginning to like show up?
Definitely. Still,
Yeah.
I mean, still am sometimes to some extent.
Yeah, I actually thought about that. Like, okay, she's gonna roll up in here, and if I was you, I would definitely be like self-conscious of what people are thinking, or
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean,
mad respect for that.
Yeah, oh, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely something that I've worked on over time, and has been a journey of just kind of like self-acceptance of just, radically just like loving myself in any situation that I am in, and just like no matter what the circumstances. But yeah, it's still something that I definitely struggle with, because it's almost like the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. Like that's why I have a butterfly earrings. Love butterflies. But yeah, it's just this metamorphosis process of just like, coming to terms with yourself and learning to love yourself in a new way that you couldn't before. And which, I mean, talking about Jason and Vic and that group of people, that was always such a safe space for me to just be myself. And that was such an environment that was like so good for me to be able to like really take a deep introspective look at myself and be like, oh wow, it's okay for me to just be me and like not try to be something I'm not,
And you're like still figuring that out.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm going to be figuring out for the rest of my life to some extent. I think that I would love to be able to say that one day I'll be able to walk in a room and be 100% confident at all times in who I am. But I'm also just like super like hypercritical about myself. That's just like how I am as a person. So that's definitely plays a part of it too. But I've definitely become a lot more confident though since I moved
what do
to
you
LA.
mean? So being a hypercritical of yourself is like you're kind of trying to be like perfect.
Yeah. I mean,
and that you said plays a part in your like how you're scared, or what were you saying?
Yeah, just like situations where it's difficult to like when I walk in a room and I'm like, do I want to really express myself in the full way that I want to? You know what I mean? Like, do I do the full glam and the makeup and not give a shit what anybody thinks? Or do I just show up and look normal because I want to please, everybody?
Right.
And like how everybody thinks I should look. You know what I mean?
So how would you dress? And what would you wear if like you were around like people like Jason, Vic, and me like all the time? Like what if it was just, or even like what if you didn't care at all? What if you knew for sure that everyone you were going to be around is like super chill, like Sarah?
Yeah, totally.
How would you be
best
every day?
I mean, outfits like this, you know, like
okay, so you didn't tone it down at all.
Well, no. Yeah.
But I guess my question would be like, is there ever a time when you're just, like, so you don't always feel like you want to like wear a bunch of makeup and be, sometimes you're just chilling.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
yeah.
shoot, this whole quarantine, I've literally been chilling at home in like basketball shorts and a tank top.
And not like wearing...
like I'm not wearing makeup. I'm
right,
not doing anything. Yeah. But yeah, you know, it just all depends upon like what side of myself I want to express. You know, there are some days where I feel more masculine, and there are some days where I feel more feminine, and you know that.
And how long, how many years have you been like actually wearing makeup for?
Probably it's been like 2 years now.
And was there like the first day you did that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God. I remember I went and bought makeup at CVS.
And you were like super excited, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was really excited, but also at the time it was just like, it was so nerve wracking because I was just like, oh, what if somebody I know sees me and like, oh, like, why is he wearing makeup? Like, what's the deal? Like,
and like,
you
really
know,
just who gives a fuck?
Right. Well, and that's how I look at it now.
It is.
Yeah. That's honestly, like, I literally do not give a shit now.
Yeah,
like, I will walk into whatever place wearing fucking a full face and a skirt just because.
I think that like, that's a part of what's like really attractive to me about you. Is that I see something like I feel like you're probably one of the only other people that I know that's on like a similar level of like not giving a fuckness as like I am.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So most people aren't really able to do the like, I really don't give a fuck, and I'll put all parts of myself out there. And for you to be able to do what you do, you have to have that too. Yeah. And I see that, and I'm like, wow, because I really put myself in your shoes sometimes, or anyone's shoes. I try to.
Sure.
I just try to. And when I see that, I'm like, wow, like, could you even fucking imagine? Bro, like, what if I said you need to show up dressed like a girl? And just be chill. Like you would never have the balls to do that. Neither would I.
I would have the balls if I wanted to.
Yeah, maybe. Actually, probably not. That's the crazy part. Is it's fucking hard, dude. I feel like it would be hard, but once you come to terms with it,
I sort of feel like in the current climate we're living in, it's cool. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's definitely more acceptable, but like most,
not just acceptable. It's even pushed.
Well, it's definitely not like cool in like all circles.
No.
Yeah. Right. And
definitely in the South.
This guy
where I'm from, it is.
Okay, he came from LA. Once he and so I'll say he and she throughout and that's fine.
Interchangeably, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's dope.
Truly do not mind.
When he first showed up in LA, like that's when you started to slowly start to finally feel comfortable, because you're right, it is more accepted here. But like, bro, even just the people that were at my meeting right now, like DDA's cool, I'm cool, Mikey's cool, he wore makeup in the band, but like, you know, but like those other two guys, like, I don't know, like they might have been like on some weird shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just a little, kind of fascinated and taking some information here and like figuring out what sort of questions I want. But I always want to ask the questions beneath the surface. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And
yeah, and
is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
If I say something that it's personal or something, just let me know, because I'm not trying to be. I'm just.
Like we talk a lot about our own.
I'm trying to just relieve my curiosity.
Well, but you know what though? I just want to ask: have you ever listened to any of our podcasts?
I actually haven't. No.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I feel like that would have really helped you a lot.
Well, like we had Brianna on, and
we had Jason, Brianna,
awesome.
and Vic, but like we go like deep.
We try to get into.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I love deep conversations.
Yeah, we try to go deep.
Yeah,
we try to go like Billy's exposed.
So,
all of his childhood shit. I've exposed, like, it's just like all about like upbringing, trauma,
Yeah.
all that. We are both addicts.
Solutions,
Like we go all the way, but it's also like we're trying to live a certain lifestyle now, and you know, AA is all about like, you know, like doing that 4-step and recognizing like where those, you know, what those triggers are, where those traumas come from, like what my part is in everything, and just like, just really trying to be better people. But I'm assuming that Billy's probably going to ask some questions surrounding like, I don't know, whatever. What do you want to ask?
Okay, well, I always like to start from the beginning. So where'd you move from?
So I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I grew up in a suburb north of Atlanta called Alpharetta.
Atlanta's a big city, though, right?
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
But you grew up in the suburbs.
Yes, yeah, north, like 35, 40 minutes north of downtown Atlanta, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you came to LA when you were how old?
I was 21, yeah.
21, and you came here for your career, or what drove you to LA?
Yeah. So I dropped out of college, actually, and moved out here. I got an internship at a studio out here, and I was originally just going to be out here for the summer, but I just ended up staying out here. I always knew that I wanted to end up in LA eventually, just because that's where, you know, the whole pop music scene is. Like, if you want to do pop music, you kind of got to be out here. So
how long have you been doing music for?
Well, I started playing piano when I was 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
So music's kind of always been a part of my life, but like doing it seriously and like within like the pop music space, probably since I was like in like late high school, early college was when I was like, all right, this is I know where I want to be, you know? So yeah.
That's cool. And so I'm going to ask some questions. Just tell me what's cool and not cool, because I don't know. I always say this to everybody. I don't want to offend anyone. So previous to LA, you were like full dude, or you weren't going, your transformation has been happening since you came here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you had feelings like you would like to previous to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be bisexual, or like to present yourself however you're comfortable, like as a girl, or
both. And those were kind of like two separate journeys, honestly. Like after I moved to LA was like, first for me it was coming out as bisexual, and then about a year and a half later I came out as non-binary, and so those were kind of like two different journeys that I had to go on, like after I moved to LA, and kind of unlocked this whole space in my mind where I could like have a conversation with myself about it, you know? But I've always known, since I was a kid.
Did you have friends backing you up in the South or anything? I mean, did you have other friends that were of similar mind or anything? Nothing.
No. I mean, I was super involved in like the church scene. I was a church kid. Like all of my friends were either from church or from my high school, and you know, there's nobody who was like out, you know, in high school in Johns Creek, Georgia.
So what crowd did you kind of chill with? What kind of crowd were you in? Like, was it the music kind of kids or the drama kids, or
all of the above a little bit? I did a bunch of musicals when I was in middle school and high school, and I was in marching band all 4 years of high school, and did like choir and all that kind of stuff.
Were you comfortable and happy, and like, are you outgoing or introverted?
I'm definitely mainly outgoing. Like when I'm out in big groups of people, I definitely feel energized from it, and I get lots of energy from it. But I've actually, over quarantine, I've kind of discovered this more about myself, that when I'm at home, I'm super introverted. Like, because I love a good book. Like, I love sitting for hours and reading and just being by myself and meditating and just like getting alone time. I need that as well. Yeah. So
you're not a shy person, though.
No, definitely not. No.
That's cool. I've always been. So I always, neither is he. I always find it kind of fascinating. Like how do you be outgoing? I don't get it, but it's cool. I admire that. And so what did you look like? I'm just curious. I'm like trying to get a reference point, because the person I see here and the person.
Not normal.
But I mean, did you just have short hair? Did you have long hair?
Shoot. Sorry.
What? I can't even tell what you're saying.
I'm saying, like,
It's in your mouth.
this, like, suits her.
Oh.
She looks like...
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
crazy.
saying that she looks
No,
wrong, but
no.
I just don't know who the previous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I almost even forgot.
I don't know the transformation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I just had to stick one of those hard-boiled eggs.
oh, did you put?
I haven't been able to eat today.
Did you put hot sauce on it? No.
Nothing.
So,
It's hardcore.
were you kind of like a? I'm guessing like kind of clean cut
Do you have any
church type.
Can we pull up pictures on Facebook and shit?
Oh my God. Yeah. Sure. I was a nerd.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. Like,
So I'm wondering if that like a nerd. So were you sort of awkward or anything like that?
yeah,
Like
I was definitely a little, yeah, for sure. I was definitely like socially awkward. And,
No, you could definitely tell that Harrison was like had like gay tendencies.
yeah, it was,
You know how like there's always like the feminine. Some guys have like more feminine, traits, the way they move and the way they talk, and Harrison was always like that.
yeah,
I remember even before.
totally.
So
yeah.
when
was that intentional or is that just how you are?
Well, I mean, for a long time, I honestly tried to like repress that.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, I would just be like, I would say something and I'd be like, oh my God, you sound too gay, or you sound too effeminate. Like, oh, like you need to tone that down and sound more masculine, like whatever. Like,
what's
but,
your last name?
I feel that way
Mead.
myself.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Harrison Mead.
I feel that way myself. Like I got to be a little more manly because I'm just
Yeah. Yeah. Now I don't give a shit anymore. I mean, I sound super femme now, but yeah, for a long time I was very like, oh my God, did I just sound too gay? Like,
So that's what Harrison looked like pretty much before.
yeah.
Wow.
No, it's like you've really done a really great job at like
Thank you.
figuring out what your look is, because I feel like, I mean, it's might sound weird for some people to for me to say this, but I feel like you look more like how you should look now. I guess you know what it is? It's because like your energy, like I feel like if something's like not true or real, like you can like, I can notice it. So maybe like in a week you're going to have a different feeling, and then that will come out, and then that will be your truth. So it's like weird, like truths can change and morph. And so I guess what I'm saying is I notice like a honesty and a genuine thing that I'm seeing, which is cool. And I think like,
Appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not even like saying it's like big you up or compliment you. I'm just kind of more so saying it just so that like, because like I think a lot of people maybe don't quite understand. It's like there's not a whole lot to understand. It's just like, what is your truth? What are you feeling? And how do you best express that? Like I dress differently from Billy. I look different than Billy. Like I have tattoos, he doesn't. I have like gold teeth, he doesn't. Like, and my brother's even different from you are. And we're all different. We all look different. We dress different. We act different. I'll wear, GDA wears a bunch of jewelry and like, I don't know. It's like, what's so different from like makeup? Why is makeup different from jewelry?
Yeah. I mean, makeup is genderless,
I mean, even today I went to the urologist and I'm thinking like, why is it that we can't talk about a penis the same way we can talk about a broken finger? Well, why can't we talk about like breasts and like maybe not have, like, why can't we just talk about these things like they're normal body parts? Why? Yeah. So that's the problem with our society, is that everyone is afraid of talking about stuff they don't know about because there's fear and unknown. And it's like,
sure,
okay, but
yeah,
let's just,
totally.
I think the only way to fight that is with God and like some sort of power, spirituality, and like love. Like, so if you can come into a situation with love and empathy and understanding, now I can ask all these questions and I can try to understand. And I think a lot of people just are I mean, you can't like have an open conversation about like, okay, so do you want to keep your penis or remove your penis?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep that shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, why is there a, look, I'm not going to change this overnight, but the way I'm going to try to change it is by expressing like my truth, which is me openly saying on Instagram that like I'm having some issue with my penis right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it's like you laugh at, people laugh because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. But I'm like talking about that shit I mean, I'm not like ramming it, but like my friend filmed me and he posted it and I shared it. It's like all good. Like, yeah, I'm going to go see the urologist because I don't know what's happening. I'm on antidepressants and they affect your sexual drive. And I'm wondering if the two are connected. And there's this thing called peyronie's where like you get like a little bit of a bend.
I have it. Yeah.
So I apparently I have it, but it's just different than yours. It goes down, not up. So that's what I have. And he told me massage the little lumps out.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
No. But mine was scary. But I don't want to get all into my penis on this podcast.
No, but like, okay, but like, you know, like my whole thing is like, why not? Like, let's just
do people want to hear about it? Okay.
But that's the thing, though, is people do, but they want to act like they don't because there's all this shame around these,
all kinds of stuff. But there's also like big penis, little penis issues. There's all kinds of shit, right?
Well, yeah, I mean that's something that people can be insecure about, but I think that we're even more insecure about it because we don't really talk about it, and we don't hear enough women saying it's really not that big of a deal, right? We make it so much of a bigger...
We're talking sort of medical now. If we were talking like, you know, hard-ons and this and that, that would be different.
Well, you just made it about size, and I'm just saying it all is related. I'm just saying all the shame, and I think it has a lot to do with why our society can't just like have these conversations about like gender and like where is it going. So have you? Yeah. So you must obviously know who like Jordan Peterson is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Ben Shapiro?
I feel like I've heard that name before. Yeah.
So I guess the question I would have would be like, so you know you're a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're identifying as non-binary and you're choosing to be a woman. But like, so their whole argument is like, you can't like unbecome what you were born as far as like biology.
A man is a
so
man,
would you agree with that?
Well, my answer to that would be that there is a difference between sex and gender.
Okay. So what, you know, so, and there are some people that say there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it gets tricky. And that's what Jordan and Ben are fighting for. And they get called all kinds of names. And they're just so, people just like they're told, like, I'm like embracing whatever you want.
Let me ask you a couple of the hard questions. Okay,
but wait, we were just talking about something, and
sorry.
I think we were getting somewhere.
I have all these questions.
Yeah, but do you understand what we're talking about?
Of course I do, but I'm going to take a leak while you're finishing.
Okay. So, and I just want to. I'm just curious where you're at. What you just said, they are different things. So
yeah.
So gender, you were born a man.
Yeah. So gender. So sex is basically like...
Oh, no. Gender, you can become any gender.
Gender is a spectrum and is incredibly fluid.
Yes.
Sex is, you know, what you were assigned at birth when you were born.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
But gender is... how we identify can change.
Right.
And that's how, you know, with this whole spectrum of gender identity, you know, I love too, now that I get to live in a time where we realize that like there is such a spectrum of how you can identify. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can, you know, I identify as non-binary, but I use both male and female pronouns interchangeably. So like you could call me a boy or you could call me a girl, and either would be accurate. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, but then there's also transgender people who transition from male to female or female to male, or, you know, then there are agender people who like don't identify as a gender at all, you know? So how would I address them, as he or she, or it doesn't matter? Or
well,
I would usually, I think the best way is to just like ask what people's pronouns are, you know, and just be like, so,
but
you know,
what would the A person be?
Well, everybody's different, you know, like there are non-binary people who use they, them pronouns. Personally, I don't use they, them pronouns just because I feel like the best way for me to explain.
But like if I was talking to Billy about you, how would I would say they?
Well, you could say he or she, and either would be equally as accurate. Yeah.
Right. But what about the people that don't identify? What are some of the ones that they'd like to be called?
Yeah, they, them, that's one of them.
Okay, but is there any kind of like weird ones that like people wouldn't know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not, there's lots of ways to identify.
Okay,
you know?
So the man who becomes a woman, is that woman now saying her gender has changed and her sex has changed?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I think what Jordan is saying is that is now... Okay, so can that woman now participate in like woman sports?
Yeah.
With man biology? Like I think that woman would now have a clear advantage when it comes to like weightlifting. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of gets tricky, right? How do we navigate?
Yeah, that? and that stuff is difficult to navigate. I think where we just, you know, where we need to draw the line in the sand is just inclusivity. You know what I mean? And just personally, I think that, you know, everybody, no matter how they identify and, you know, what color their skin is, you know, what gender they are, whatever, deserves an equal shot at
and they
everything.
Deserve to be loved, accepted, and included. I totally agree. But there is going to come a time when like the now woman wants to play on the women's basketball team, but she has man arms and legs and height, and
which is not equal. That's not
right. That's
equal.
not fair, or is it?
Yeah,
or is it? I don't know. Like, what would you? Let's say you have to make that decision, which there are people that are having to make those decisions right now as we speak.
Yeah.
As a non-binary person, what would you say that we should do?
Yeah.
And I'm only asking that because I don't know either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think like, honestly, that would be my answer too, is I don't know what I would do, you know, because like, let me put it this way. I want every decision that I make in my life to be one that's made out of love and out of inclusivity and letting somebody know that they are valid and that they have, you know, in any setting. But so maybe you haven't, it's a difficult conversation.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know how deep you've gone into these conversations before, but I've watched videos of Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro talking about this subject at length, and I've also listened to a lot of podcasts about this subject at length. And I think the solution that most, you know, logical, open-minded, loving people would come to is like, okay, so gender is interchangeable and there's a spectrum, right? Mm-hmm. But there are two sexes, and in the rare case, very, very rare case, there's certain animals and humans that are born with like a little bit of both, but that's like super rare. So when it comes to the sex thing, I think what the conclusion that I've become most accustomed to is like, okay, the sex won't, like, you're always gonna be a man, but your gender can change to a woman, but biology you can't change the chromosomes, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually glad that you mentioned the the people who are in between, because that's another part of the conversation as well as intersex people. They're
right.
Which
is like definitely the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But that's why we have rules, is so that there can be these small exceptions to the rule. But like the general rule is like science and biology is like, okay, this is the sex you were born as a man. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that you can change that. You can't change your sex, or can you?
Well, I think the important part of it is, less about like getting caught up in
right. No, yeah.
the physical sense and more in like the who are you as a person?
Yeah, 100%
beyond the flesh.
I totally agree, and and that's why I respect you so much and I accept you. But the reason that this comes up a lot in college and with Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, and because Ben Shapiro is like kind of a political dude, and there are like laws that are being passed and people that are like, protesting and over like, dumb shit, like you said, like the things that aren't important, like these things we're talking about now, but they're not like, I definitely don't think they're as important as like what the like what you said, like, but they are something, and they are something that like everyone kind of needs to agree on so that we can figure out what we're going to do with the sports stuff and the bathroom stuff and the, like like can give birth, and that's something you'll never be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's like, these are like kind of like, I think that, to be honest with you, I think if everyone could get on the same page about that simple issue, which is like gender is interchangeable, sex is not, then I think so many problems surrounding this issue would, the legs would get taken out of them, and it would be like, all right, now we don't have anything to argue about. Are you really accepting me as the woman that I've become?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I think you look even better now than you ever have. And it's all good. And I don't even really like talking about that other shit, to be honest with you. But like, I've just seen so many debates and angry bisexuals and angry, what would be the correct term? Transvestite?
Transgender people.
Transgender.
Yeah.
So what's a transvestite?
That's kind of, it's pretty much the
like
same term, but it's kind of like an old, outdated.
Okay. So so I've seen transgender people like getting very upset and almost like looking for a fight with certain people like Jordan and Ben, because the way not so much Jordan, but Ben Shapiro definitely talks in a way that's not very empathetic sounding.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of emotion, and like he's not saying the things, and well, that's just because that's who he is. And I think people assume he doesn't really believe when he says, I totally accept you for whatever you want to be, but you can't change your sex. And that's kind of what his whole thing is. And I guess I don't know if you've really like put a lot of like thought into that or had conversations about that with people.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's still like, I'm still so new to this. Like all of this is like, I, 2 years ago, I was still in the closet and leading worship at a church in Hollywood and fucking like completely different human being.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know what's so cool about you is I noticed that you have it really doesn't feel like you're coming from a place of like anger and like resentment. I mean, you must have your own issues and stuff, but like, I really feel the love and like the kindness, and I think some people when I watch these debates, I just notice like, wow, like it just seems like that person's just like looking for a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Sometimes. And if you're not, which obviously you're not, I think like you'll be all right,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Love's where it's at. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
What's up, Billy? Now's your shot.
Oh, Great. So just to get the terminology straight, a dude is a dude, non-binary.
Closer to the mic.
So what is a person that has a penis and breast? What is that? What would be the proper term?
Non-binary.
Well, there's plenty of terms that can be used for plenty of different types of bodies, and you know.
Okay, my friend is super into. I'm just gonna say, can I be just crass? I mean, is this bad? Okay, I won't. I'll have respect, but he's into this. This is my good long term.
No, just would say it, dude.
Well, chicks' dicks. I don't know. I mean, that's his thing.
I'm actually into that too.
Yeah,
and
plenty of people are.
No, like I actually, I've watched like henchai. It's like Japanese animation porn, like 3D animation, and like I love like when the girls have like insane breasts and like massive like dicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
cool.
And they're like hooking up with each other, and it's like just. I like
so
that.
I have
a lot of people do.
I have
a lot of people do.
I have a little bit of an inside
yeah, for sure.
Because he's been my friend for a long time, and he didn't used to be able to talk to anybody but me about this stuff. Mm-hmm. But now the world has really kind of changed a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, totally.
So I just want to get the terminology. What would I call that person, respectfully?
Well, I mean, I think what you would call them is what they say to call them. You know,
not a chick with a dick.
Yeah,
okay, but I'm not. They're not here, so I can't ask them. Like, so generally, what would that?
Yeah, just a. You know, there are plenty of terms like transgender, non-binary, genderqueer is another one you could use.
All for that same.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different words.
Well, it gets confusing.
Yeah. No,
Can you
it's
just
not
give me a good one?
He just non-binary or transgender.
Because non-binary could be me. I could say I'm non-binary, right?
So can this other person with breasts and a penis.
But then it's
confusing. Somebody with that body could also be a transgender woman as well.
That's what I'm trying to say. I just want to get
transgender.
Through the confusion, so I can just use a term that's respectful. Transgender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And then a complete transfer is what? From man to woman.
Transgender.
Or
yeah,
vice versa.
That's
too confusing. There's got to be like a term so I can talk.
Well, it's more just like umbrella terms that are used to describe a varying group of people that are on different points of a spectrum. But
I get it. They're all at different places, but if you want to generally speak about that population or that group, what's the respectful way to say it?
Yeah, I would say probably either transgender or non-binary are probably the two terms that I would use to.
And then if it's a complete transfer, just woman that used to be a man.
But see, Billy, here's the thing.
I guess I'm not getting it.
Well, let me explain it to you. Okay, so they've transferred genders, so they're a transgender. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's a man to a woman or a woman to a man.
Yeah,
they're
but
transgender.
if you keep the lower parts and change the upper parts, that's
transgender.
Yeah,
but then how? What you're not getting is. How do I describe an individual if everybody's this transgender? Then you don't know what I'm talking about.
Everybody's not transgender.
Yeah,
it's only the people that have changed sexes that are transgender.
Yeah, but there's a difference of changing halfway and then fully. There's got to be a way to like identify the difference, or else you don't know who or what I'm talking about.
Well,
I can't communicate. That's what I.
Well, you could say that they're transgendered and now they're a woman. They're
okay.
Like that's what I was saying.
It's
going to
continue to be confusing.
Harrison's transgender and he has become a she, but Harrison's also non-binary because she identifies as both, which I think is the least confusing because like she is both.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if she went all the way and became a woman, it would be like transgender. She man to a woman. Now she's a woman.
Well, but there are also people who have the same body as me that identify as a transgender woman.
Right.
You know, it has nothing to do with what, you know,
right.
If I have tits, if I don't have them, you know, if I have a dick, if I don't have a dick, like it doesn't, you know, the terminology of how somebody identifies doesn't have anything to do with what's on their body,
right?
You know, yeah.
I understand that, and I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just trying to be able to communicate because there's a big difference.
Well, you use the term woman, man, based on how they're choosing.
Okay,
to.
but now I've even forgotten what I was going to talk about. So.
Well, you're trying to figure out like how you would describe without having talked to them. You're going to have to kind of. You might say it wrong because you haven't spoken to them.
Yeah.
And you don't know what they prefer. So you just describe what you're seeing. You say, oh, you know, I just watched this girl perform, like the singer of Against Me. I just went to their show, and it's she's transgender. She was a man who became a woman.
Okay.
Like you just kind of, like we're still in the new early phases of this too. I think we're also kind of figuring all this out as we go. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing is I don't think that there's like a clear. But what she's saying is like you kind of have to figure it out by talking to the individual.
Yeah, just asking
so
how they identify.
There, you can't really. There's just a guess. You're just guessing.
Well, yeah, you have to say based on either what you saw or what you think, which is like what I said about the singer of Against Me. I haven't spoken to her. All I know is that I love the band and I love her voice, but she was a man, so she's transgender. Mm-hmm. She was a man and now she's a woman. And that's why I have to I say all that to describe how she is. There's not really I don't really think that there's
there's no easy way.
Well, I mean, that's not that hard.
Yeah.
It is for me because I'm still confused. But okay, forget all about all that.
Well, I think that everyone is still, like I said, not confused, but we're all still figuring it out. And we're all sort of like it's evolving. Every year it's becoming like we're all figuring it out.
Okay, I have this other thing that I've been.
It's like a new thing.
Thinking about. So, and again, please don't take offense to my language or whatever. But so, the gay community. Let's just go back 10 years. So the gay community 10 years ago was special because they were like a small group, like let's say West Hollywood. Right? So they're special because they're small. They're a minority, right? And part of the cool thing about, now this is just in my mind, so I'm just putting it out. I'm not even asking. I'm just putting it out there. So they're special, right? And part of being gay seemed like I'm special because I am gay in a way, right? And then I can act and feel and be who I am, which is special. But if, let's just say we make everything normal, does that take some of the fun out of being different? Or you don't even give a shit? You just want to be... I mean, you don't want to be, people to judge negatively and oppressed and all these things, which I understand. Mm-hmm. But in a way, being different makes you special. Like, even like now, tattoos are pretty common. But when you saw a tatted up dude 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you're like, fuck, that guy's hard, or he's from prison. Or
special.
Mm-hmm. Special.
Yeah, I don't know why that word special keeps coming up. I don't know that that's the best.
Well how do you say it? They're different.
They're just unique. Unique. And they're only unique because there's not as many of them.
But unique, special, different, right?
But I don't even think that, I think that's what we're kind of evolving to a place where it's like not even, it doesn't even need to be special or unique.
But then it takes like that's part of the fun. That's what I'm getting at. It's like part of the thing of being different and cool is being different.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, does it take a little fun out of the whole game? Or what?
The fact that there's more.
No, let's just say that.
Or it's more, the fact that it's more accepted.
There's no, like it's just accepted. Nobody blinks an eye or thinks any different or doesn't judge. So
basically,
which will never happen because I get judged, you get judged, everybody gets judged.
No, but I think we're on our way.
These groups get judged harshly in the past.
I think we could be on our way to like,
but also that's what made him so special. You don't understand what I'm saying, do you?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I think part of what we have to factor in too is that, for people in the LGBTQ community, it's being out in public and being, even now, like, not to mention the 80s, the 90s, like around that time, like being out in public was like
dangerous almost.
You want to talk about how many transgender women have been murdered this year alone?
Yeah.
Like it's so sad. Like there's still, that still happens, but, and I personally have had it relatively easy as far as like all of my friends out here in LA are super accepting that, they're, like Pat, they're just like, yeah, like you do you, like just be yourself and we'll be here to cheer you on, and so I'm really thankful to have that out here in LA. Back home, it's not so much, but there are so many people who are kicked out of their homes because they're gay or who are, so yeah, I think it's like, if, I'll be honest, there have been so many times over my journey of coming out where I've been like, I wish I didn't have to go through this, because life would be so much less stressful. The amount of stress and anxiety that coming out brings, and living as an out and proud, non-binary bisexual person is like, it's like, I would have to be crazy to like just want to do that just to, to feel like special or different, I guess. I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I like that perspective. I mean, it's interesting, and I don't even know if this is accurate. It's just a thought that's been going through my head, because I've also been listening to these podcasts and things. Mm-hmm. And before I lose it, but in a way it was like respected. Like I kind of respected my gay friends or coworkers and stuff, because in the face of adversity, they're like, fuck you, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. Right. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck yeah. You're a badass in a way. And it was, I had respect. Mm-hmm. So if the whole dynamics of society change, yes, that's great, because violence and stuff is not cool, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been a victim of violence. It's not cool. But it also is going to, some people, I wonder that they don't almost just kind of push that because it makes them special. There's people on all spectrums, right? And outliers, but I guess I'm having a hard time explaining it. And what I'm really trying to get at is psychology, right? So the psychology behind people's motivations, and is it not somewhat of a motivation to be different and interesting and self-expressive by being non-binary or even gay? In a way, am I just totally off?
No, yeah. There's definitely I feel so much more fulfilled in my form of self-expression now than I did 3 years ago, because I'm so much more myself now than when I was 3 years ago. And now I'm just letting this uninhibited, not based on what literally anyone else has to say about me. Like, I'm just going to do me and express myself in the way that I want to. And there's an incredible amount of joy that comes from that.
And it makes you more interesting, right? It makes you more of an interesting person. And, normal is just boring. It's just fucking so boring you don't want to even look at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was my point. I guess that you would lose some of the mystique if society became completely open-minded. And the other thing is with my friend, all his girlfriends or his it's not really romantic, sexual / romantic interest, they're all prostitutes. So that's interesting, and I wonder if maybe that's not part of the reason a lot of non-binary people are murdered, because a large majority of them, now again, I'm just going from my reference point, are prostitutes, and that means they get in some weird, situations that a lot of people wouldn't get in. So maybe that's why it's got a high rate of. Did you say murder or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there have been. Yeah, I mean, and it's within the sex worker community and even outside of the sex worker.
Some people are just like.
Yeah, they're
picking on them, or just want, like, homophobes or whatever, just wanting to kill. But I think that there's also a lot of, they're just getting into like shady situations maybe, but it's hard to say why. And I think each individual is different.
And it's so fucked up that people do that, right? Like, it's just like a human characteristic. Like on the playground when you were a kid, there was a few kids that just got picked on.
Yeah, well, that's just, like what me and Harrison were talking about on my post. It's just people that are afraid and they don't understand. And their own it's like the same reason someone gives me a negative comment. They're the ones that are fucked up. And it's just too bad that like some of these people are so fucked up that they can't accept someone else and they're wanting to like hurt them. Yeah. It kind of makes me wonder, like, I almost want to say that, like, I feel like the people that are the most aggressive towards, gays or
are not gay themselves, they repressed.
No, I'm saying that they are.
Yeah, that's
like they're the ones that are probably like, I'm so comfortable with my sexuality that I would never even like be upset with anyone. Like, and I asked myself, what would it take for me to be upset? And I think what it would take would be for me to be not comfortable with my sexuality. And therefore I'm taking that out on the person who's expressing theirs. So it's always like, oh, you're homophobic? That's because you're probably kind of gay.
Yeah, totally. Like, there's, oh my God.
Like, so you might ask yourself, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a homophobe, like, you should take a look at yourself and really like take a good look and think, well, I wonder why I'm having such an extreme reaction to this. Yeah. What, come on.
We had a really good conversation.
Here, hit right here.
Hello.
Hey.
We're about to get blessed, people.
We just had a really similar conversation in the studio with Oleg and ZDA about orgies and how most men can't, like, I love to have a threesome. Like, yeah, but my girl's not fucking another guy. So it was ZDA trying to explain to Oleg, and he was
Tim?
I don't know. He took us.
Tim's like all good with that.
But like.
But like, Tim actually like wants to have his girlfriend having sex with another man. Like, that turns him on. That's how comfortable he is.
Love that for him.
No, and like I'm pretty much there.
Yeah, but Tim,
like,
Tim also has a new girlfriend every other day. So,
but like, I'm there.
So let me just finish my thought. And so something that someone taught me a long time ago that helps me understand is, it's not gay or straight. It's 0 to 100, and everyone falls on that scale somewhere. So like most guys,
you gotta get closer to
some guys like, I'm just being hesitant. My hair color, I don't know why. Most guys like watch porn and like to watch a guy fucking a girl, but if they're in the room and you feel like you get turned on because the situation's hot, you might be like, oh, am I gay? Like, and then so it's just like this fear, and it's like, well, I don't know. We were just having kind of a similar, different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, most men love, me included. Like, I love watching a girl like give a guy head. which is basically me watching the male. The only sexual part that I'm looking at is the male part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm looking at a woman.
But it would still be so hard to have your significant other being drilled by somebody else.
To be honest with you, bro, I'm there. I'm there. I'm already there. I'm like love her so much that if she wants to like have it's pleasure. If she wants to be pleasured in that way, like I'm like, okay, I get it. Cause I would want that also. It's really hard. It's some high level shit, but like, I feel like I'm there cause we have experimented like with that kind of shit. And it was hard at first and I got through it. And, I'm not saying it wouldn't be hard. I think it would depend on like where I'm at emotionally at that time also.
How about you, Harrison? How would you feel about someone you really liked you were with doing that?
I think it depends upon the person, honestly.
Like who's with them?
Well, yeah, and also who the person is that is my
with.
significant other.
Right. Well, let's just say
this.
Let's just say this. This is a person that you love dearly.
Okay.
That you want to spend the rest of your life with. Okay. And have you ever had a relationship like that?
No, not yet.
where you're just deeply, madly. Well, you're still young. And by the way, Harrison's 24.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think sometimes, honestly, I mean, we're like over 10. I'm over 10 years older, and he's 20. So I think we are forgetting. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I think you carry yourself and you act. You definitely don't look like older, but you act older. So I think we're talking to Harrison. Yeah, take it. But we're talking to Harrison like almost as if she's our age, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that she's still figuring a lot of this stuff out too. Mm-hmm. And we're going like,
sure.
But yeah, so if you did find love that deep, it would be hard for you to watch them with someone else.
I think, I mean, honestly, I think I could get to a point eventually.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said, where it's like, if you want to enjoy that, then go on.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay.
I mean?
So
Like,
yeah, and I definitely said that for a while, but then when it was actually happening,
it'd probably take a while for me.
Well,
to get comfortable enough with that person to be like.
I mean, but that's the thing is like, yeah, you're comfortable with that person, right? But hearing them being pleasured by someone else, it's just, you can't prepare for that.
Yeah, sure.
You can't get ready for that. And then
imagine.
when you hear it, but I also want to say like that for me, like that night it wasn't just, it was like I was afraid, like they were all wasted, we were up all night, it was like the sun was coming up, I had something I needed to do the next day, so there was a lot of like other stuff happening with me. It wasn't, and I was having problems like with I was like having like erectile problems because I was scared. And this was a girl who wasn't like showing me, she was like just like a piece of wood, like, I mean, super hot.
Oh man.
And like super hot though, but like I didn't feel like she really desired me. So I think it kind of, plus I didn't really know her that well. Like I did, but I kind of didn't. Like I did, but like not really. Like what do we really have? I don't know. Like I didn't really ever make that connection. So there's just so many factors. You know, I think if you hang out with people and you really, you know, get to like love them and feel comfortable with them, like you can, anything is kind of possible, but you should never, I don't think people should ever be going into these situations like as physical objects, like, oh, we're going to hook up with that couple, we don't even know them, but we're going to do it. Like that's where it can get weird.
Sure.
Because it's just like a physical thing, and it's like, I don't know.
There's people that do that too, though. So I don't know.
I mean, that to me is a little bit.
It sounds like to me that Harrison he wouldn't really want to go that direction unless it was pushed.
I don't even know how we ended up talking about that.
Well, I have a completely unrelated question.
Okay. It's an interesting convo.
No, because she was talking
like
about
this
men.
conversation.
Because she was talking about men and their insecurities surrounding certain things, and like, oh, I'm some big badass. I want to fuck mad chicks, but I'm so scared and insecure that I can't watch my wife fuck someone else, even though I'm down to go and do it. That's what she was saying. And I think that there's a parallel in that and those people wanting to like beat up on like
free the penis.
Yes, queen.
Wait, she said free the penis. Like, I don't understand that. Why that? Why free the penis?
Why not?
Why not?
But what is that? Like,
Orgies are always, or like threesomes are always like the husband, wife, and a girl. Like,
oh, okay, that's what she means. She means free the penis, like let like a husband and wife have like an extra man. Well, like, why are we never throwing?
Oh, that would be an
She's saying
twist.
free. She's saying free the penis.
Girlfriends I have that like have had threesomes with their husbands or boyfriends, and they will not let them. And some girls don't want to, and that's fine. But the other ones are like,
We I'm sorry, but we can't. Nobody listening can hear you right now. So she's basically saying free the penis because like it's never a thought to throw a man in the mix.
I was in a situation like that.
Throw a woman into the mix.
Sure.
I was in a situation like that, and
where what?
2 dudes, 1 chick.
Oh, right.
But the dude and chick were like together, and I was previously with this girl.
Oh wow.
And we were down, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." But we were shooting heroin too, so
no bueno.
But then he comes in, and I'm already inside her, you know, and then he's like, "No, I don't want you to fuck her. You know, she can only fellatio or whatever." And then, anyway, so people get weird, and then he wanted to give me head, and I couldn't even get a hard on, and because he's my friend, I'm like, this is it's just so strange. Like what?
This is crazy.
But anyway, so I have an unrelated question. If we want to move the topic,
yeah.
Okay. So, how's your religion today? Because you grew up religious, and it seems like you're really involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that look like today?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of in a place where I've completely, I think, ditched religion just in general. And now I'm kind of more focusing on more just like spirituality and like what that looks like for me kind of post Christianity. Like there's still some things that I take from Christianity that are like, you know, examples to follow, like certain ways that Jesus lived his life and things that he did that I think are great examples to follow. But as a religion, there's so many flaws, and there's so many things that contradict themselves and didn't make sense to me. And, you know, so over the course of a few years, I basically had to deconstruct that. And, you know, and this was kind of intertwined with my coming out too, where I was kind of like, okay, what do I really believe? Like, take away everything else, take away what my parents believe, what my family believes, what my home church in Atlanta believed. Like, what do I actually believe? And why do I believe that? Is it because, like, I want to fit into the mold of some sort of dogma that's been placed above me that I have to, like, stay in? Or is it, like, something that I really believe that I think will enrich my spiritual life, you know? Yeah, and so there was a long time where I was kind of just like, I had deconstructed the old faith and what I used to believe, and I was kind of at this like ground zero moment of like standing in like everything that I deconstructed and just being like, well, fuck, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what do I build over this? Like, cause now I'm a very spiritual person, and it's always, like you said, it's always been spirituality has always been very important to me for my whole life. And I didn't want that to change, but I just had to find a way that made sense for me and like for how I want to live my life. And, it looks really different now than it did a few years ago, but, lots changed, and I'm still figuring it out, and I think I still am going to be for a while.
So my big hook on all that is, burning in hell, right? Do you feel any fear of that?
From time to time, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
Like personally, I don't know if I believe in hell in like the traditional Christian terminology of this, like, eternal separation from God or whatever. I don't know if I believe in that. Oh yeah, for my whole life until I was 20.
I mean, completely. You're like,
it was absolute.
Okay.
You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell, and if you're gay, you're going to hell. Yeah, that's what I was raised to believe. So, and there are still, post coming out, post deconstruction of my faith, and with a great support group of friends around me, there's still plenty of times where I'm like, it'll be 2 a.m. and I'm alone in my room and I'm like, fuck, like, am I going to hell? Like what if what I believe now and have deconstructed and rebuilt new things over what I used to believe? Like, what if that's wrong? And what if what I used to believe was actually right and I'm actually going to go to hell for this?
It's scary, isn't it?
It's a terrifying thought, and I have that like kind of frequently. I mean, not as much, definitely not as much anymore as I used to, because I think I've found solace and peace in God being everywhere around me.
Dude, I don't think it's terrifying at all, bro.
Burning in hell?
That's insane. Come on, dude. Like, that's so insane. That's not, like, that's crazy.
Well, you can say
sense.
that, but there's a huge population that believes that.
That's what I was raised to believe. Yeah.
I know, but I think that the truth is look, we'll never know, but that's so to me it just seems so much harder to believe.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right. No, not
like
to me.
what did we remember from before we were born?
Yeah.
We don't know. Like, we don't.
I don't even remember, like, 5 years old.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, you have no.
I don't remember what I ate for dinner last night.
Yeah.
Shit.
But wait, that was good. That's interesting. So, do you still pray?
Yes, in a different way than I used to. Now prayer for me looks more like meditation, just like where I think, like, in the past, prayer was almost always like asking God for something and like asking for God to make things happen in my life and stuff like that. Now prayer in the form of meditation is more just like quieting my mind and just like clearing all of the bad shit out and just like really finding that peaceful state and just like grabbing hold of that and like just sitting in that for a second. You know what I mean? Like, because that's really all I can do. You know what I mean? Is to just find the peace and the love in the everyday, like I definitely used to be a lot more like vending machine prayer type of thing where it's like, okay, I want you to give me this, and now I'm kind of like, I've traded like those expectations for just like manifestation in my own life and in day to day. Like, okay, if I set my mind to something, I know that I can do it with the help of God, but like, I'm not going to ask like, oh God, would you please, like, please, like, I don't really
think those kind of prayers are that effective in either.
Yeah. I don't really see the value in them anymore, honestly. Yeah.
That's neat. So you still believe in God though?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I will ever get to a place where I don't believe that there is some sort of higher power, a higher being that created everything that there is in existence. And,
so it's still important to you to be connected with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Super important.
That's good. Yeah, me too.
When I pray, I just pray for
muscles and money.
for
2 M's.
For God's will, like help me to accept what your will is for me. like, and help me to just remove the fear so I can better do your will, you know, and it's not even, which actually I'm going to end up getting something so much better than I ever thought I wanted if I can just accept what God's will for me is, which is, I never know what that's going to be.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to just be open.
It's the mystery of it.
Yeah. And also like praying for others, not myself, and just praying for like peace and happiness and, the ability to like serve. Yeah. I think like the biggest thing I've learned about like God and spirituality is that like I need to have, if I have faith that when I'm thinking of others and when I'm thinking right thoughts and when I'm being that good person, those are the times when I'm the happiest. And it's proven to be true for me. So then all I ever pray for now is the willingness and the ability and the open-mindedness to be that person, so that I can experience heaven on earth, which is, I think, just something we can have in any day and any moment, to remove the fear so that I can be that person. Because we always want to be that person, but then, you know, fear comes up and we're frustrated. Like right before the podcast, I'm trying to do stuff and Troy's not, they like fuck with me, you know, cause I'm like their friend and they don't want to help. And they're just like, I feel like they make it kind of difficult for me. I don't really have the proper help yet. And it can get frustrating, but what's really happening? What's really happening is I'm afraid that the sound's not going to be good, or that it wasn't good last time. And I'm just in fear. And like, the truth is that if the sound wasn't good right there on that thing that I just showed Troy, cause before we started this podcast, I showed Troy something that we filmed for the reality show and we edited, and I played it for him, and the sound is like we're doing the interviews and he's picking up sound from a lav, and there's like a lot of really good bass in it, like how this sounds. And then there's an overhead mic, like a shotgun mic, picking up my sound in my bed when I'm talking, and it's like sounds really thin and tinny. So it goes from the thin and tinny to like me talking in the interview, and it's like so different, and it's like weird watching that. And it's like that kind of, if that's what happened, then that's literally what God wanted to happen. And I just need to be like, totally. Oh, cool. Okay, that's what that's supposed to be. Now, can we figure out a way to make it better next time? And he was in fear, and he responded to me with fear, and then I went back to him with fear. And now we're like arguing about like, he's trying to say this like can't be done without someone else who we can't get a hold of. And I'm like, well, if we can't get a hold of him, then how are we going to figure it out? It just, sometimes it's hard to navigate life because you have real issues that come up. Yeah. I'm sure with you writing songs, you have differences in opinions, and you're like, I really think this is what's best for the song, and someone else is like, maybe no. Or so I don't know. I guess what I would like to know is how are you? What are some of the things you struggle with today in your career, or just in your life, or what are some of the things that you're like going through that are hard?
Yeah.
And how do you like get through that shit?
Yeah. And
then I think we should dip in on some learning to lose.
Okay.
Like, what does that mean to you?
All right. Well, I mean, I think I've always for my whole life struggled with anxiety and depression. And it ebbs and flows. There are certain seasons of my life where it's better or it's worse, or, but it's always something that I've dealt with. And, I've always had this feeling of like, it's very subconscious. And, I've kind of trained myself the older that I've gotten to find a way to, deal with it and to see myself in a positive and just like realistic light. But I have a lot of self-doubt and a lot of like am I good enough? Am I, I don't know. And I think we all struggle. We all struggle to that to some extent.
100%.
With me, it's, there are some times where it's better and sometimes where it's worse. Like beginning of quarantine was really fucking hard for me because I just wasn't feeling inspired at all creatively. Like I wasn't really writing at all. But towards the end of quarantine, I kind of got more inspired and like getting back into the, back into regular life again with that, and working on stuff. But yeah, quarantine was just like, it was so bad for my anxiety towards the beginning. Cause it's like, where's the world at? Like, we don't know what's going on. Like,
were you all alone during quarantine, or were you with some people?
I've 3 roommates. So yeah, that I'm thankful for that I don't live alone. But,
and are they like super cool and like accepting?
Yeah,
and,
they're
like,
really sweet.
You're
Yeah,
comfortable with them.
Yeah, super comfortable.
But like, is there anything like, can you be at all any more specific? Like I just tried to get kind of specific about what I was dealing with before the podcast. I don't know if there's anything specific that you, like with work or anything like specific, like
sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm for the first time in my life, this is the first time that I haven't worked a part-time job. So I quit my part-time job in March, and since then I've just been doing music full time and just kind of seeing how it goes and kind of riding the wave. And
so have you sold any songs, or have you made some money? How what does that look like? Like, can you kind of just
so I've had some placements on like TV shows and stuff, like sync placements that have been great financially.
Really? Like what shows?
There's this one on TBS called The Misery Index. I did like a little like 30-second hip hop track bumper for it. It was so random. Yeah.
And they hit you up, or do you have like a agent or like
so I have a couple of friends who are like super involved in like the TV film world, like
do you have
sync
like
stuff.
An actual manager?
I don't yet, but I'm kind of courting one, kind of like working through that right now. We're kind of figuring it out. So
amazing.
Yeah. But so with that, with the whole, this is the first time that I've just done just music full time, which is what I've wanted to do for my whole life.
Wow.
Like, there's always this fear of like, oh, what if this doesn't last?
Constantly.
What, like, how am I going to pay this bill? Like, how am I going to pay rent? Like, what, am I going to have to get another job at some point? Like, and then am I going to look stupid in front of my friends? Cause it's like, oh, he tried, whatever. It's like, you have, there's a lot of fear that comes with that, but there's also a lot of exciting things that come with it.
Do you have any like financial, how are your parents? Are they supportive or?
Yeah, I'm completely financially independent right now.
And you have been for like a while.
I have been for like 3 years now. Yeah,
because you've been doing the part-time job. Where did you have a part-time job?
Worked a bunch of places in LA. Yeah, I was in coffee shops for a while. I used to work at this bar in West Hollywood. Wow. Yeah,
so
been
you like
all over the
fully
place.
Came out here on some like, I'm gonna like be a musician.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come to LA.
That was the reason I moved out here, is because I knew. I mean, like even like somebody like Jason, like I knew who Jason was years before I even met him. Like, because since I was in high school, I was just like obsessed with like checking credits of like who produced and wrote stuff, and it's Jason. His name pops up all over the place, right?
Wait. So was it the Demi Lovato song?
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, I loved like the Maroon 5 stuff he did was sick. Like Maroon 5, the older stuff he did with them was so sick. Yeah.
So you've always been like wanting to be like a producer?
Yeah, I've always known that I've wanted to be involved in like the pop music industry in some capacity.
But like your ultimate dream would to be the pop star.
Yeah, I mean, right now,
but to write music and to produce music, all of it.
Yeah, kind of all of it at once. Like somebody who really inspires me with that is I don't know if you know John Bellion. He's super inspiring to me.
Didn't Jason do a bunch of shit for him?
Yeah, he did a couple songs with him. He did.
Did you see the video of him on the boat?
Oh yeah, so dope.
Jason did that song?
Yeah, the Good Things Fall Apart. Yeah, great song.
Insane.
Fucking incredible song. But yeah, he has his artist project, and that's kind of like his main thing that he does. He releases albums and tours and does the whole nines for that. But he also writes and produces for, you know, Selena Gomez, Christina Aguilera, countless artists.
Yeah. What about TV on the radio?
He's been on the radio for his artist stuff, but he's had huge radio stuff for like other artists. Too.
Yeah. What's his name?
Huge radio stuff. John Bellion.
Wait. No, I'm saying TV on the radio. The band.
Oh, TV. Oh, I thought you were saying has he?
Oh no, I'm saying there's a band
on the radio.
Called TV. No, I'm saying there's a band called TV on the radio.
Oh, okay.
And the singer of that band, I think, is like this crazy. Also, like the XX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know the XX.
Yeah, totally.
Like they produce mad shit for like Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like, also, like Father John Misty.
Mm-hmm.
He did some but like I think the big one.
Or even like Pharrell, like with the Neptunes, you know, you know,
he's a great example.
He's super inspiring to me of just like, he's had his hands in so many pop records over the years, but he has his artist project too. And I love doing both. So
Kanye.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's probably the biggest example.
Yeah, for sure. He's
RZA. He's like my favorite.
Oh my God, love RZA.
Really?
Fucking love RZA, dude.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
He has no idea. Do you know any of the people we just mentioned?
Just Kanye. Oh, Maroon 5. You got the platinum record up there.
Like, you're not talking about the...
and Selena and...
Before that. He did, It Was Always You, Can't Believe I Could Not See It on this time. Yeah. That was Jason.
That shit's crazy.
Shit bangs. Yeah. It's a great song.
Wow. You know what? That's right. He sent that to them, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
So trip on this, bro. Jason wrote that song for Maroon 5, and he's like, dude, I got to get this to them. He sends it to their manager, and their manager's like, I'm not even going to send this to them. Because their manager is sort of like the filter, because like they're probably getting thousands of submissions all the time. So they can't, you know, it doesn't get to Adam Levine unless it gets through the manager. Okay. But Jason, like somehow, like some way, like found this fool's email and he like sent it to him. Like just like Hail Mary. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't.
So he just knew the song was for them. And he wanted to get it to them.
Yeah, and
this is before he knew them in any way whatsoever.
He just believed in the song so much that he's like, if Adam could just hear this song, I know he'd like it.
And he was right, because that song is literally perfect for Adam's voice.
Well, no, not only did he hear the song, and I'm not positive if it was that song, but it was a song that Adam, I mean, look, first of all, you send Adam an email, like he's probably not opening it. Right. Especially if he doesn't know who it came from. So like the level of like luck and just, you know, Jason would probably say God or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he heard the song, he fucking loved it. He was like, why the fuck didn't someone send me this song? Like, you know, I want my whole album to be modeled after this sound.
Sick.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And he like found Jason, and Jason's now written like
their biggest song like ever.
Well, no, probably. Like 4 of their last, a bunch of songs on both of their last albums, and like pretty much most of their hits.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Legend.
Story.
It's crazy how often that happens in the music industry though. Just like blind emails, blind DMs on Instagram that end up in...
Well, it's like Suits also just... He kind of went around the suit because the suits don't always know what's up. You know, they're good at like doing the business shit, but the suits are always trying to like weasel their way into the creative side of things.
Totally.
And it's just not,
we all
doesn't
know
serve anyone.
Yeah. We all know an A&R who's tried to be a producer at some point.
Yeah. Or, I mean, and I guess it makes sense because I think all A&Rs and all managers, their dream initially was to be the artist. I mean, no one ever dreams to be no one grows up going, I want to be a manager of an artist. You know what I mean? They want to be the artist, and then they're like, oh, I'll settle for manager if I can't make it work. Sure. And then that's their way of having like a creative input. But like, I just think, especially for us, for Hypercrush, for my group, like just all the different people trying to put their creative feedback into the thing, it just fucked it. It just made it so much harder for us to just do us, you know.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, and trying to put us in with producers when we don't need. We are the producers.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
we made this shit happen on MySpace. Why are you?
Yeah,
I love butterflies too. I'm
Well,
gonna get one tattooed right here.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, he said, "I'm Kristen too." Did you see? Have you ever seen Billy before his haircut?
No, we just met tonight. So
okay, so Billy does Jason and Victoria's plants, and they're fond of him, and he's in the circle, and I've been wanting to integrate him, but look at this. Just check this out.
Oh my god!
I'm just showing.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh my god! How long did you grow it out for?
I don't know. Years and years.
It's set, all of it's in this video.
You have gorgeous hair.
Yeah. So,
oh my god!
Here, listen. Did you hear what he just said? Double tap. Go back.
What did he say?
We're
Nice. Nice. Love it.
So I was just showing Harrison.
Love it.
The YouTube video I just posted of Victoria cutting Jason's hair, which almost has 1,000 views. I mean, on YouTube, that's like pretty good. This fucking YouTube game is a motherfucker.
YouTube's crazy.
But it's the most important one.
Can we go on to a new subject real quick? Just a quickie. Sure. So how do your parents feel about your transformation?
It's been better than I thought it would be, but not easy still. They're, my parents are very religious and very like, they still adhere to, those super conservative Christian teachings that are, the like, if you can't be gay and be a Christian, or like, if you're gay, then you're going to hell, or, all of that sort of thing. So it's just kind of been this like big elephant in the room that we don't really ever talk about it. I don't really see them too often either, because they live on the other side of the country. I only see them like twice a year, usually 2-3 times a year.
Do you try to act different when you're with them, or are you yourself?
Great question. I used to like really tone myself down and just try to avoid conflict, honestly, because I was kind of just like it's not worth it, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
But now it's to the point where I'm just like, you know what, like they're going to accept me as I am, and I'm not going to dim this down.
Do you
at
feel
all.
fear and guilt surrounding that?
Definitely, yeah. Because
God, that's so hard. Like,
For
that's
sure.
how I feel all the time.
yeah, man.
Like, I have this like constant feeling of like fear, guilt, and shame surrounding like
Yeah.
all the truths that I'm putting out on like a daily basis.
Yeah.
And like what I'm doing.
Me too, man.
And judgment.
Yeah.
And I know that's why, like,
Yeah.
I could just tell. And the more I'm talking to you, the more I'm realizing, like, wow, like, it's hard to, like, yeah, the only way that we can overcome that is with, like, this power. Which is funny because, like, their whole thing is religion, and they tried to bring you up on that. But that's not the God that's going to help you.
Yeah.
In
Totally.
this situation.
Totally. Yeah.
It's going to have to be this new God of like meditation and being in the present moment. And like, is there like a power, or like is there a power greater than yourself that you're like relying on?
Yeah. Oh
Right.
my God. Every single day.
Oh, okay, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that we don't realize how powerful we are, but I think we also don't realize how small we are in the grand scheme of things and in the grand scheme of the universe. And you know, yeah, I definitely still rely on God. Fuck. Like I would not be able to get through half of the shit I've gotten through.
Yeah.
All of the shit I've gotten through if it weren't for God. That was all God.
And it's such a,
you know what I mean?
It's
like,
such a hard.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because it's the same God. It's not, there's one, I mean, there's one, right?
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So your parents' God is the same God as your God and my God. And
yeah.
But it's just, no, but like you said in the meeting, which you're welcome to come to any Monday, 7:30. I think you'd fit right in and it would be great to have you.
Awesome.
We just had one and he was saying how God, you were actually just literally saying in the meeting, God is a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it's like kind of different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So I think that's kind of what we're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You
I
know
think,
what I mean?
I
Like,
think like,
Because you're saying it's one God, but really like it's our own personal understanding of it, so that way we can each relate to it in our way. That's how it helps each individual.
The way we do it.
The way
very
we do
personal.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can try to explain it, and that's kind of what we've been doing for
Ever.
these 60 hour and a half to 2 hour long episodes. That's all we're really trying to do is help people have a better understanding of God, because that's like, I mean, it literally was not designed for that purpose. Like we did not start this podcast for it to be that,
yeah.
but like that really is the answer to everything.
Totally.
But like learning to lose is what the podcast is called. And before we go into like that and what I think that means and how I can apply it to like what I think maybe your thing is and how I can accept you and all that, because that phrase can always be, I can pretty much fit that into anything. Mm-hmm. But I'm just wondering if you like what that might mean to you, or have you like heard that before, or do you understand what it is? Or
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I think that can mean something different for different people. Yeah,
for sure.
But you know, like, I think learning to lose, like, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that phrase is like learning how to deal with loss and like learning how to fall so you can get back up again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And kind of that idea behind it. Yeah.
It's so cool how like,
That's a good one. Yeah.
like what somebody said in the meeting. So religion is for people who
are afraid of going to hell.
are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people who have been to hell. So like the way that she's describing learning to lose is like she just gets it.
Yeah.
Because like and there are other people who just don't. They're like, why would you have lose? Like, I don't want to lose. I don't even like that word.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to be a part of that. Like, that's not like what they hear that name and they're like, why would that be something? And it's just interesting that there are so many people out there who don't understand how cool it is to like be the loser.
Yeah. Totally.
Or like,
sure.
like that's like punk rock. Like, fuck winning.
Yeah.
There's so much more to learn by losing.
Totally.
For me, it's not even like it is, but it's not even losing, because if you can get back up again,
no, it's not losing.
you're winning.
But it's just like learning to learning like constantly, like, you know, when we're learning to play music and to write songs, it's just a fucking shit show of like garbage, like, and we're just like jumbling. We can't even play a chord, and it's just like it's like that's learning to lose. You're just losing the whole. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
But it's like it's okay. I've never used this analogy before, but it's like this phrase is taking on newer meaning, and it's getting deeper and more profound the more that we talk about it, and the more I grow, and the more. But like that's a great example because you're a musician, and like it's like if you can't learn to like live in that shit,
Yeah.
you're never gonna. It's never gonna get better. You're never gonna grow. You're never gonna write an amazing, beautiful song.
Yeah.
You know. And like I just like, there's a Steely Dan song. The Gentleman Loser. I am another gentleman loser. You don't know Steely Dan very well.
I know of Steely Dan.
Yeah,
but
they're fucking the illest.
not a ton of.
They're the illest,
Yeah.
bro. You fuck with them at all?
I don't know the Harris.
Yeah.
One of my favorite drummers played on a bunch of Steely Dan records. so-
Really?
Yeah, Jeff Porcaro. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, from Toto. Yeah.
Oh,
One of my
shit.
favorite bands of all time. Yeah. Fucking love Toto.
Toto, what's the song?
The Africa.
Yeah, Africa, Rosanna. That's a good
Oh
one.
yeah, okay. Roseanne.
Hit Africa.
Yeah.
Can you sing it?
Gonna take a lot to drive me away from you. There's nothing better than I could ever do.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
That's a good
that
one.
song is the best sounding song. Like when I play records, that's like because it has like everything in it. It has like the high percussion stuff, and then it has like the synthy stuff. It has all those harmonies in the chorus. It has all the elements of like analog rock back then. That and the melody is just. It's almost like when you have a melody that's that. There's something really crazy about like music, like when the melody and the chord progression are so profound, you can almost get away with like less production.
Totally. Yeah.
Right? It's like
minimalistic production is like so in right now.
right. But I'm saying like even back then, it's like when it's that good, your brain almost just goes like, "Oh my God, this production's amazing."
Right.
Because
even
it's
if it's
just
not.
you can't help but feel
Yeah.
those emotions. Whereas like if you're listening to like a certain Michael Jackson song, like, you know, like a groovy or Prince, where there's not like that deep emotional epic chorus, the production has to be really good, and it is. And it's like groovy, and it's like a different thing, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder, like, is that song really that well produced, or is it just that it's such an incredible song?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a little bit of both.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it actually is a lot of both.
Yeah. for
Like the
sure.
production is insane on that song.
It's crazy. Man.
Yeah,
That's
like,
such a
have you,
great
like-
record.
Yeah, so you've
Yeah.
like really analyzed that with headphones on. And
Oh yeah, dude. Like that one, Rosanna, like Hold the Line. That's a great Toto record too. Yeah, love those songs. Yeah.
What does the name mean, Toto? What is that?
I don't know.
yeah, I don't
I have
either.
no idea.
I can tell you what Steely Dan is.
Okay.
It's a dildo.
No.
A Steely Dan is
Stop
a dildo.
for real.
So these guys,
That's amazing.
No, so these guys are like, so Steely Dan, they're like the smartest. They're probably like the smartest musicians, like maybe ever. Like, but like smart in like a Coen Brothers way. Do you know who the Coen Brothers are?
Yeah.
Like they're like the Coen Brothers, and I mean, they got the best players. They weren't like, oh, we're gonna make a band, we're gonna write the song.
Right.
Like they were doing that like before. I feel like that's like what a lot of groups do now, like, you know, MGMT or even like, you know, M83 or it's like it's not really like a band. I mean, they go tour it with a band, but it's more like, you know, like it's like the mind of like one or two geniuses, and they're like, you know, producing it all. Like, so Steely Dan, it's really just these two guys, Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. And they're like just masters trained, both gone through like tons of school. They can write. It's like they're just like masters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but they're like funny. Like that band name is a perfect. And their lyrics are very. They're like one of my favorites because you would never think that they're talking about like, you know, the type of shit they're talking about, like driving drunk behind the wheel and like, and like just they talk about really like crazy shit that's like you would and you can play their music at like a Ralph's or in an elevator,
right?
But they can also headline Coachella. It's like crazy. They're like so different from anyone else. But yeah, they were really smart and kind of in this weird funny way. That's why I think that band name is it's almost like for those of you that know.
Right. Yeah.
And then most of you don't know. It's like
I love shit like that.
Yeah, it's like really high level. Like, and when you watch, there's a couple documentaries on like them producing Asia and some of their albums. Like, if you don't know them, I think I would almost be excited to be you as a producer to kind of like I think you would really enjoy the documentary on the making of Asia. Ooh. They have
to check it out.
I mean, they literally have like
documentaries.
Like 50 percussion tracks, and they'll isolate like this, like two of them. They'll show you like, yeah, this one was like some trash cans, and this one is like this weird xylophone, this toy xylophone. It's like, what? Like, I didn't even hear that in the record. Just layers and layers and layers. And they would audition 20 guitar players, and they all would play like the sickest solo.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that was really, really good, but like, it was like too good.
Yeah.
And then they picked the one that's like the most unique and like original, and it sounded like I don't know. It's just really cool to watch their process.
Hell yeah. Love me some
interesting.
Love me some great session musicians. That's why I love Toto too, is because they were all legendary session musicians before that band even formed. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Is this like? Oh yeah, this is.
You know, Toto in Spanish means all.
Does it?
Huh.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I wonder. I'm gonna look it up after
Okay,
this.
so so learning to lose. So was there a point, and then we're pretty much almost done here. So
word.
Yeah. I just want to, before we wrap up, I just kind of want to like
maybe that's wrong. Sorry.
I want to put a bow on like this whole learning to lose thing, just because like I'm thinking there must have been, I'm guessing, I could be totally wrong, but there was there like a low point of like loss and like pain and maybe like a surrender, like a point where you were just like, I'm done hiding this. Did that come from a place of surrender or pain? Was it almost like, I can't do this anymore? And then like, what was that?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, well, I had, you know, like I said earlier, I had known since I was a kid that I was bisexual and that there was something different about me. And, it took a while of just like breaking down through layers and layers and layers of myself and just learning to love myself radically, like in a way that I had never done before, and just allow myself space to just like exist and just be myself. And, it got to this point of where, you know, I was leading worship at a church in Hollywood twice a month. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like, I don't feel invested in this. I don't feel like I belong here.
Yeah.
And I also feel like if I were truly to be myself and like just express myself in the way that I really am, I would not be accepted or loved here. And so that kind of sparked like okay, I really need to reevaluate my priorities of who I give my energy to. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, with people like that, it's like with all due respect, why would I give my energy to somebody like that?
Let me ask you this. Like, did you ever try to like tell them and
no,
you didn't even bother?
No.
You just knew they would not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're on like in the place that I was at, like when you're on a worship team at a church and it's like a kind of like a public position within that church, it's like if somebody even like looks too gay or too feminine or whatever on stage, it's like, oh, we can't have that.
Oh, and they've already like openly said that.
Yeah. Oh, there have been plenty of people that church that I was at.
So you already knew it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I knew their stance. Yeah, from day one.
And you just were hiding it.
Yeah, and it just got to a point where I was just like, you know what, like, I don't need to dim my light for anybody or for any reason. Like, especially not in the name of religion. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, that's just exploiting fear is what it is, you know? So yeah, I just reached a point where I was like, all right, I'm done trying to be someone I'm not.
But was there any kind of a bottom or like any kind of a significant, like was there any, like, what would you say were like the lowest points of, maybe there are none.
Oh my God. No, there's plenty. Yeah.
Like, is there like I feel like that's something, you know, it's darkest before the dawn
for sure
type of shit. Like that's learning to lose. That's a big part of it, is like, because it's through that loss and that pain that we're, that's what it takes for us to like finally
molds us. Yeah.
Get the truth comes in, and we get to become what we've always been afraid to be. Or how would you say what I'm trying to say?
I was thinking about something else.
What?
That he's very intelligent.
Thank you.
I like that, exploiting fear. That's a very
Billy's like the best. I feel like he was kind of getting off on the wrong start, but I love that he's just honest and he really listens.
Yeah.
That's the thing about him that's dope, is like, I'm kind of a little bit like crazy, and he's like able to like really listen, you know, and he's not just sitting there like waiting to talk. He's like listening to you, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get at,
good
like,
conversationalist.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best thing.
But what were you saying? Can you say it again?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm trying to kind of like, I was learning to lose, I think, is kind of like when it's darkest before the dawn, and it's through these dark low points where like we think it's like, we think it's the worst thing ever, but it wasn't until I like lost the music thing where I had enough humility and I was surrendered to a point where I was able to like just experience the things that really mattered in life. And it's like almost like by hitting a bottom, you surrender, and then you can finally get that piece. Like, there's this Janis Joplin lyric. It's actually a Chris Christopherson wrote the song for Janis Joplin.
Okay.
It's from a song called Me and Bobby McGee. And the lyric is, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. So freedom, it's just another word for nothing left to lose. So learning to lose. It's like, once we've lost everything, we're free. And it's kind of like some Buddhist shit too, like have no attachments. So now I'm trying to accomplish things while not holding on to them desperately. And it's hard. It's a hard balance.
Hard
to do. So basically kind of what I'm asking is like, were there any points in your life that maybe you think were like the lowest, darkest, most painful points where you actually came out so much better, or maybe not?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there was a moment when that church that I mentioned earlier that I was a part of, kind of when I was like making my way out of the church, there was a point where I was like, okay, like I'm done with this. Like I'm moving on. Like, and at that point I was looking for another church. I was going to find another church. Now I'm completely out of the church altogether. But, I went from leading worship on like the main worship team at this church and like writing songs for their worship team and like volunteering 3 times a week at the church and like that kind of stuff. I went from that to the next Sunday I just didn't show up and I never came back. And literally nobody even cared enough to like call me. Wow. Like there was one person from the entire church that texted me and was like, "Hey, like, are you like, what's happening? Like, what's going on?" Nobody else even cared. And I was like one of the core members of their worship team at this church. Like, So that was just a moment where I was like, wow, okay, these people really don't fucking care. So I need to find some people who do. And who like,
so that was like a painful,
so yeah,
that was probably one of the hard. So you were
so
in the
painful.
church. So you were
Yeah.
in this church group while you were in LA.
Mhm.
That
Yes.
was like your first
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
creative.
This was before I met Chumba people and
Okay,
like that
so
whole crew.
real
Yeah,
quick though,
yeah.
so what you're saying is that was really hard and that was really painful, but it inspired
Yeah.
you to.
Yeah, to kind of push out and just be like, you know what? Like maybe I don't need the church in order to have a healthy spiritual life.
So
You know?
you deciding to leave the church didn't come from any kind of profound experience. It was just something that you sort of came to the
Yeah.
realization that you needed to leave, and then that was
Yeah.
hard. But then that helped you. How did you actually meet Jason?
So I met Jason. Do you know Seth Jones?
I don't know.
He's at Chumba a bunch. He's a DJ, producer. He's a great dude. But he was one of my roommates when I
Was
first.
he like in any of the bands or?
He has a DJ project called SJ. Yeah, you'd know him if you saw him.
Okay.
But he's
So he knew Jason.
Yeah, so he's known Jason for like 4 or 5 years. And Seth was one of my roommates when I first moved out to LA for like the first 5 months. And I think he just brought me to like a 4th of July cookout or something at Chumba.
Yeah.
Rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very glad I met that group of people.
Yeah, they're they're a great. That's just, it's like, I mean, you fucking fell into like the perfect. And then you
I'm
met
so thankful.
Did you meet Sarah through them too?
Yep. Yeah, I met
Yeah, see,
Sarah.
that's how this
Yeah.
works, bro. It's crazy. Like Sarah,
Wait, who's Sarah?
I don't know if you know Sarah and Sammy.
They're
just friends.
What's the significance? You guys are good friends or something?
She's a songwriter.
Yeah, we collaborate a lot.
And now,
yeah.
and she's very like, I could see her and Harrison like vibing, you know, and it's just like, that's the way networking works. And that's the way like having like a cool community.
Yeah, I'm seeing it,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, I really like Jason and Victoria. I don't really know the rest
But
of
I
the
mean,
crew.
this dude came from, where was it?
Atlanta originally.
Atlanta, but not even
Yeah.
really Atlanta, like
Yeah,
some like
Johns Creek.
weird spot outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, Johns Creek.
Grew up
Yep.
super religious and was like, oh, I just want to. Actually, you know what? It reminds me of this documentary that Tall just recently, shout out to Tall. Okay, so but just there's this I have these two things I want to say. One is this Dennis Hopper documentary.
Okay.
So back in the day, there was like a crew, you know, like Hunter S. Thompson, Dennis Hopper, you know, all the different musicians like Jim Morrison, and they were all kind of Jimi Hendrix, and they were all kind of like a part of this like creative, artistic, probably so many others that we never even heard of because they didn't get famous or popular. But I just feel like, you know, the Chumba just kind of reminds me of that, you know, where it's like a place where a bunch of creative people can go.
Yeah.
And network, and it's not even just about like the creative shit. It's about like a way to live your life and a way to be, and
Kind.
yeah, and just like a lifestyle.
Totally.
And then Tall said that last he shared our podcast. He said, there's nothing more that I love more than to listen to my friend Pat talk. And he shared the podcast, the last one we did with Jason. And he said it was like one of his favorite podcasts ever.
It was a good one, yeah.
But not like just his favorite podcast that we've done. Like one of his favorite podcasts that he's ever. So it was really cool. And this guy Tall is like a really important person to me. He's kind of like a kid who I grew up with, but he's now like, you know, he's been through. He was like the friend of all the musicians, and like the Dot Connector got like, you know, avenged in the studio with like My Chem, or had the Good Charlotte collab with this, you know, and Machine Gun Kelly, bringing all these people into the Palms. You've seen our videos for the Palms.
I think so. Yeah.
So we used to do all the videos for like
But
those nightclubs.
But
and,
what does Tall do? What is his?
He's now the head creative marketing guy for the Palms, and they had like these clubs. Oh. They had Chaos where Cardi B and Marshmello, and they were all performing, and he was like helping bring in all these artists, and he's just like this really awesome, big, like really important, connected guy in like Vegas now, but he grew up out here, and he's just someone who I respect their opinion, and he just really was giving us props. But he hit me up and said, "Yo, you gotta watch this Dennis Hopper documentary." So there's this documentary. I'm trying to find it. Like,
did you watch it already?
No, I want to watch it. Like, I don't know if you're down.
Wait, who's Dennis Hopper though? Is he the actor guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was like apparently like this OG on the scene. Like, yeah, he was an actor, but he was like more than just that. And he was kind of, so he's in Apocalypse Now. He's like the camera guy, but he was also in Easy Riders. So Easy Rider was like a movie that like changed like the culture. So have you heard of Easy Rider, the movie?
No, I don't think I have.
Wow. That does show how young you are.
So how would you explain Easy Rider? You're the kind of person who would know.
Well, no, I don't even think I've seen the whole movie all the way through.
It's like free.
Yeah, it's free
love.
freedom.
Like they're just these guys riding on their motorcycles across the fucking country, and they're just like smoking weed and they're just cruising. I wouldn't say they're hippies. I wouldn't say that they're like bikers either. They're just like cool dudes, and they pick up Jack Nicholson, and this is when he's super young, and he just like cruises with them, and it's just like,
you should watch it sometime. I've never watched it all the way through.
It's just a great movie, and it changed a lot at the time. And I don't know, Dennis Hopper was just a guy who, he was the star of the movie with Peter. I don't know. I'm like trying to, but we should. I'm gonna watch that if you want to watch it.
What time is it?
It's 12:30. So yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you on again, hopefully. Like I like to like do, you know, like a lot of the people, DDA and Jason and Victoria, and they've been on multiple times just because it's a conversation that we're having, you know, and getting to know you sometimes is like the first podcast, and then we can go further.
And at some point we want to get one more mic, so like you and Jason could be both on.
By the way,
yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
I don't know if you knew, but or you didn't know, but I was on my phone for a second while we were here. While we were doing the podcast, I bought another mic stand, and 2 cords, and one of these cloud things.
Nice.
That's going to be fun. I think having the second mic, the third mic, fourth mic.
Because we do these meetings. I bought all that shit just now while we were doing the podcast.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, because like we do these meetings, right? And we talk about like Jesus and the Beatitudes, and like how we should live our life with humility and honesty and courage and faith and selflessness, and we talk about all that and what it means to us. And then there's like, 10 of us, it's growing. Then we can come in here, and whoever's feeling like they want to do a podcast, we can do that too afterwards, and that's something we can share with the world.
Yeah.
I'd also like to start figuring out a way to like live stream the meeting, but
can you send Brianna the podcast? I saw her.
I did.
Oh, you did? Mm-hmm. The whole thing? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, maybe you can come to the meeting, and then maybe we can do another podcast.
You should come to the meeting because you have a real background and all that stuff, and then a change, and I think that'd be awesome.
Totally, I would love to come. Yeah.
Okay, it's Monday nights at 7:30.
All right, I'll be there.
Okay.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. Good night, everybody.